So today is Friday, November 11th, and doing another update. You know, sometimes it's hard to tell just when you want to do these updates. You know, when's a good stopping point? Oh, I just want to do this. Oh, I just want to do that. One thing turns into another. But so there's been a lot of things going on. So first of all, I'll say that anybody else watching the channel might know or remember that one of my last projects was a Aston Martin Vantage, a V8 Vantage 2007, which I fixed it up, was driving around enjoying it, and one day last year on the way to a car show, somebody just rear-ended me at a stoplight. Not all that hard, but enough where the insurance company totaled the car. So I was really on the fence about what to do, to fix it or to take the money. So I decided to take the money and invest it in the Camaro. So there's been some changes, so for obvious reasons I was able to upgrade a lot of things that I was going to do in the future. So the biggest one of which is the front subframe clip. So I sprang for that. You know, it's an amazing piece. It's something I've always wanted to do. But obviously it's a big ticket item. But sprung for that. So that I've already test fit a few times. The other is the 4-link, right, which I was kind of planning to do, but so I upgraded to the full floater with the C7. Right, I've got the pumpkin center section in there. The other thing it allowed me to do was buy some stuff that I was kind of struggling without, the most obvious of which is a rotisserie. So, but anyways, that's the good news. There's a lot of other things too that, if I don't say it explicitly, I was able to buy with the money. I've still got some left. Still have some things to buy: the air conditioning unit, wheels, tires, drive shaft, stuff like that. Probably won't have enough, but anyway, so as I'm going back and forth here on the bottom, I don't know if you can make it out by here, but so what I've done, I spent a lot of time trying to decide what to do on the bottom here, right? So there's a few options. I like the idea of powder coat, but you know, the logistics of getting it to the powder coater, the cost involved, the inability to repair it, things like that. So the other was, of course, just paint it, right? Which I could do. But you know, the painting, although it's easy to repair, it doesn't wear as well. So I did what I've seen a lot of other people do, which is the spray on, and this is the lizard skin, the CI, the ceramic insulation. All right, so I've done 2 coats here. I'm very happy with it. You know, this car, I'm gonna drive it. It's not a show car. It's not like something off of, you know, from Kindig-It that just you wax the underside of it, right? I want to drive it, burnouts with it, have all kinds of fun. So this, I think, is a good good solution, right? So as I'm panning around here, I'll show you some of the things you can maybe figure out. So obviously here's the support for the 4-link here, the supports here. I've masked all these off before I sprayed, of course. There's the fuel access door. There's the trunk cutouts, which I put in. There's a mount for a fuel vent. I got the one from Chris Alston, Chassis Works. I don't know if you can tell or not, but I've done the leaf pocket, leaf spring reinforcements. You'll see those on the inside when I turn it over. And then, of course, the subframe connectors. So the subframe connectors were fine. I blended them into the rail here in the back. But the question was, how do I mate them up to the front clip, right? So since the front clip is already powder coated, according to the instructions for the subframe, you're supposed to weld some tabs onto it. Well, I don't want to do that because it's already powder coated. I didn't want to strip it back and weld to it, because then I couldn't repair it, right? And then of course if I weld it to here, I couldn't remove it, right? Because then it would be welded, and I like the idea of being able to remove the front subclip. So what I did is I kind of added on these, fabricated these kind of bent plates. I don't know if you can really make it out, but it's pretty thick. It's the same material that they'd used, but I put a U in it here, and so you can see the mounting for the bolt, right? So I've spaced it out. I've done test fits with the half-height solid body mounts from Detroit Speed, and so the idea is that you put that on before, and then you slide it in here, and then you'll be able to get the body mount bolt in from here. So it gives it some extra. It slides actually into the front clip, and it really clamps it down. So it's not welded, but I think it's a good compromise. It allows me to take it apart, right? So I think that's about it for the bottom. You see here, if you're wondering what these are the exits for the exhaust tips, and I'll get into those in a minute, right? But another thing that I did, so I had to do to accommodate these exhaust tips, I had to put another kind of trunk cutout. So this is one I kind of fabricated here because of the angle at which the exhaust tip was going to come out. I ended up kind of not really needing it, but you know, the trunk is not really that useful space anyway. It's going to be stuff back there, amplifiers, but you can see what I had to do is I had to cut through the mounting point for the rear of the leaf spring, but since it's a 4-link, I'm not using it anymore. So, and then I boxed it back in, welded it up, and got all that in there. So overall, you know, this is pretty much ready to go on the underside. So I think the next step is I'll start putting the axle, mounting it in. I've had it test fit in 2, 3, 10 times in and out. I'm trying to adjust the bars, the bar length, all that stuff. So I'll do that. Alright, let me turn it over and I'll be back. Okay, so here it is flipped over. I've kind of just put the exhaust tips in there. I haven't tightened them all the way down, so they're not really centered, but enough for you to get the idea. So these are exhaust tips from a Mercedes. They're actually turned upside down and swapped from side to side, but you can get the idea. So I still need to body work around here. I'm going to bring this up on a curve and flatten it off. But that's what's going to happen here. Bottom, you see the mini tubs. I haven't done the trunk hinges yet. You know, all the billet trunk hinges that I see, they seem to say does not work with mini tubs, so I think there might be some out there that will, but I have to research it a little bit more. But that's that. So sometimes I forget how much work I've done, right? So I had to go back and look at the other one and see where I was, right? So obviously I've replaced a bunch of body panels, right? All the quarters, the inner and the outer rockers on both sides, the floor pan, outer wheel tubs, inner wheel tubs. You know, here's the mounting for the 4-link. Here's the leaf spring reinforcements. Here's the subframe connectors. So my buddy Mr. Fireman, you know, I didn't go to the extent you did with connecting those subframes up to the frame underneath like I've seen on your videos, but I pretty much did it the way that they recommended. But I've got the plates welded in here for the roll cage, right? So it's going to be one of these I guess half roll cage, but it'll have the slanted door bars that go down that are removable with a pin. So you'll see that in here. So I've Started to play a little bit with some of the body filler. You know, I didn't really need to do it in here, but figured, you know, this is going to get sprayed with probably some of the Lizards get sound insulation, and then of course all the peel and stick Dynamat. So that won't ever be seen, but I figured it's a good place to go. But the other place I was playing with it a lot was up front on the smooth firewall. So, you know, I've been playing and learning. I'm not able to get in there real well behind the main post there, so there's still areas that once I take it off the rotisserie, I will get that better, get it all nice and flush, right? So I'm debating a little bit on what to paint this firewall and in here. So all the other pieces are all gloss black. Within the engine bay, the front inner fenders, the subframe, it's all gloss black. So I'm kind of tempted to do all this gloss black too, right? Regardless of what the final exterior color will be. But yeah, so that's that. I'm still working on that. The other thing is, so I did purchase and have already test fit the full set of the Fessler flush mount glass. So it wasn't off by too much. There were some areas where it was too small that I had to move the metal back. The areas that were too big, it wasn't that much, so I can body fill it out a little bit. I mean, I guess maybe I could move the metal if I still wanted to, but so that's that. The other thing, I have to make sure I mention everything. So I've shaved the drip rails here. All along here, all the drip rails I've shaved, right? So we'll see how that works, but the that's done. You know, so I've done the seam sealer. Obviously I did it underneath before I sealed everything, before I sprayed it, but I've also done it through here. This is the Eastwood stuff, the black stuff that comes in the caulking tube, right? So all these beads I've run in through here, so you can see the front support there where the front part of the roll cage will meet up. But so I've done it, of course, you know, against all the subframe connectors anywhere. You know, I don't really expect too much because we've got the ceramic insulation on the bottom, but you know, all the way up through here. I don't know if you can see it without the light, but so all through the back. There's still some spots I need to get, but yep, that's about it. So the reason I thought this was a good stopping place is because the next step really is to go ahead and mount the rear axle and to bolt the front subframe on. And what I'll be able to do for the first time in a few years is set it on the ground and continue work on some of the body work and things like that. Oh, one of the things, again, I keep forgetting, but so the new rotisserie, right? So I got the new rotisserie, I had it due to the cutting of the leaf spring pockets, which you saw before. I had to come up with an alternate way of mounting it. So I've mounted it here to the bumper mounting. I've got a thick metal plate behind there to really support it well, but what it means is that, you know, I can't quite get the centered or balanced, so it's a little bit biased towards the vertical position, but it's not too bad. But I did have a little bit of an accident, so I didn't dog these down. I thought I did really tight, but I guess not, and it did a slow motion slide when I had it tilted. So if you can see this, but so there was some damage here, and then there's a little bit of damage here too. You know, it's frustrating, but you know, those are the types of things that happen. So you can see maybe in the light a little better here the shaved drip rails and how I did those, right? So the pieces that go in here, these, you know, these replacement pieces I've got, they're chrome. I don't know how well they'll stand out against the body color, so I was thinking of, you know, getting those kind of stripped in either like black chrome or maybe just some black powder coat or something like that with the weather stripping. But so I think that's everything, right? Tremendous amount of progress. Not going to say when the next video will be, but you know, we'll see.